guy who
We learned
was
together.
no, this is the guy who sat through one of the most bullshit music video sets ever.
Aha, that's so funny. But hey, we learned a lot. We learned a lot.
Yeah. All right. What's good with you, Jared?
Chilling, bro. Honestly, freaking work too much. Holiday season.
You already know. You're gonna get new toys for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You're still debating. You're still gonna stay with BNPC boys though.
Yeah. Me and John like chopped it up briefly, just like thinking about trying to grab a Komodo in the mix. But
There's no reason to.
yeah, that as well as just like there's a lot more time and attention and like even money that can be thrown towards marketing, kind of what we already have, or what we can already do rather, before having to get in bed with like a $10,000 camera. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, bro. I mean, it would be sick. Obviously, if I hit the lotto tomorrow, I would probably grab one. But
plus, they're so cheap to rent now. Like
yeah.
what, 150 for a weekend? That's it. It comes with memory cards
Yeah,
and
it's not too
everything.
bad. Yeah, and you could figure out a way to work that into your budget if the person is pretty like I don't know, pretty strict on just having that red name or whatever.
Yeah.
You could figure out a way to get that into your budget for sure. That's easy.
It's weird how like I get it why people think it's stupid that some clients require you to use a red, but like maybe it's a legit reason. Maybe like it's an ad agency and
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we just use red because that's what our guy's been using.
for sure, for sure. I think it comes down to a couple things too. Like for me, my brother has an HVAC business, so he does like heating and air, and he's like kind of his busiest season is obviously the summer, right? And just recently, he's like rolling out a bunch of marketing content. He actually partnered with a marketing agency where I'll show up, shoot him some content, and he'll literally just get that, the footage or the pictures to this marketing agency, and they'll edit it, they'll put it into some type of like pictograph or whatever, and throw it on his Instagram, right? He is, I would say, like the most out of touch with technology and especially like cameras, and even he knows what a red is, right? So I think that that's kind of also what has to play with, like, people are just like, oh, do you have a red, do you shoot on a red, like I see your stuff, it's good, but is it a red? It's like he doesn't know, he honestly, he doesn't know anything about cameras or image quality, but he does know red, right? He'll lean in and he'll be like, hey, yo, Jared, like, when or what do we need to get a red? And I'm just like, bro, you don't need a red. Like, I got a pocket 6K. John has a pocket 4K. He's shooting right now with a guy who has a pocket 4K as well. His name's Donnie. And he's always just like, oh yeah, like Donnie talks about this, blah, blah, blah. He talks about a red. And it's like, for what you're doing right now, you're talking about like Instagram heavy content. It ain't worth it, bro. It ain't worth it to like throw your extra dollars there. You know what I mean? So I get it. And I used to get frustrated when I would spend most of my conversations with clients trying to talk them out of why they need a red. But now even that, like experiencing that with my brother, where he's just like, oh, yo, like, how do we get a red, or where do we get a red? I'm just like, okay, like it makes sense. It's just a staple name that people,
Yeah.
so
What
they
do
just
you think?
associate that with quality.
So you brought up the whole client meeting. I was reading an article on this. What do you think about charging clients just to meet and talk with you for that first hour? Because I think that's something I should start doing. Like, even if it's a low number.
I mean, for me, bro, numbers is such a weird thing. Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing. For me, I'm not really in this to make money, like
Mm.
in that type of like get rich quick or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? If I was just after the money, obviously, like there's, you and I both know, limitless opportunities for corporate jobs that you and I both could go grab tomorrow and be making, right sub six figures, if not six figures. So it's like, for me, it doesn't really come down to the dollars. That being said, a big reason why like prices and like all that is taboo, I feel like, is because at the end of the day, like we want to make something feasible,
Mm-hmm.
as well as just make it like quality for the client, right? I think
Yeah.
about, where we work, a lot goes into the experience, right? And so
Yeah.
when you think about their point A to point Z experience with you, from the meeting to publishing the video on Instagram or YouTube, what did that actually feel like? And one of their biggest like tethers to how that feels is how much they paid. So for me, I'm like, I would never really charge someone dollars just to meet with me, because for me, like when we're talking about money, it's just mostly me explaining that, like, hey, how do you actually want to feel about this product? And you and I both know, bro, like I'll break it down for customers or clients and just be like, yo, at the end of the day, like, let's say we sign this crazy ticket of 5K, 10K. That's not going in my pocket, don't feel like I'm robbing you,
Yeah.
like, and I'll get a little bit transparent, just because I never really feel like I don't have to be, or I don't really gain anything or lose anything by not being transparent. So I'll be like, let's do some simple math right now, throw out some simple numbers, lighting, location, car, whatever. Look at what we're left with. And I haven't even paid my crew, let alone myself,
Mhm.
And then they kind of start to understand it. So for me, like, being that it's not really a money thing, I just like to create, and like the vision is so much bigger than like, oh, get the biggest budgeted shoot or gig. The vision, at least for me anyway, is so much bigger and beyond that. I don't know that I would charge dollars for a meeting. That being said, I could see how it makes sense. Someone
I
like
guess.
Chris Doe,
Yeah.
obviously his time is pretty valuable, but I don't know. I don't
I
know.
guess like not like a whole ton of money just for the meeting. Not like like, hey, this. I want to protect your time, protect my time when we meet. Shoot me over like 20, $50 for the hour that we
Sure,
meet.
sure, sure.
Not like at $500, but
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, for me, bro, I think you would be better off putting intentionality behind, kind of, whether it's a contract or even just a verbal agreement to like a deposit or a down payment. I think that kind of secures, or protects rather, your time, as well
yeah.
as the client's time, a lot more than like, $50. Because like, okay, cool, you and I, let's say you're a client, we go to coffee, I charge you $50, we get coffees, let's just say we go somewhere nice, we get a large coffee, whatever. Call that 10, $15 right there. So what? Like, I charge you $30 just to have a conversation, and nothing really gets done. Again, thinking about the experience, that doesn't really leave a good taste in your mouth, like, for me, So
Mhm.
like, I think that kind of dilutes any possibility of you hitting me up in the future. Or maybe you, let's say, like, you're waiting, if you're an artist grinding it out, and you're waiting to like get this amount to be able to put it towards a video.
Mhm.
Once you get that amount, you're not really going to want to hit me up, because you know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of my 2 cents. But I could see it being a thing that like bigger dogs, but then that kind of opens up another conversation, is like, when do you just consider yourself a big dog? Like, I
It's
talked to my
weird.
brother-in-law.
It's
It's weird,
weird.
bro. I talked to
It's
my brother-in-law not too long. I was just like, yo, I was like, I'm trying to learn XYZ so I could tell the big dogs where to put their dollars. And I'll read you really quickly what he said, just because I thought it was funny, but also like kind of true. And he was just like, he said, he said, you, as a big dog, must always advise the other big dogs, for big dogs are nothing if not advisors to other big dogs. And I was like, dang, that's kind of true, like, you kind of just got to be about it.
Mm.
But let me know how that goes if you start charging people for meetings. I'd be curious to see like
Well,
what the retention would be in terms of if
what
they
a,
follow through.
let's say you're charging for the meeting not just for the production, but the strategy to distribute it. I feel like that's when
How do
you're
you mean? Explain that a little more to me. I
like they
don't follow.
say like you just give. You're not just including a meeting where you're talking about producing it. You're talking about also how you're going to distribute and market this video for them. I feel like that's when you should bring in, talk a little bit more.
Because it's a little bit more like closer to getting somewhere versus just like, well, let's talk if we even want to like get in bed with each other.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Yo, all right. So, what are some red flags for clients? I really want. I've never talked to you about this. Red flags that you've seen in clients that you should know. Well, this is
Um,
not good. I'm not liking this.
For me, bro, like I think off the bat, um, I think the money thing, bro, for me, like
Mm-hmm.
if that's like I don't know. I don't know. For me, it's kind of a gut thing. I'll be honest with you. It's never
Uh-huh.
really like a blanketed statement because I've had some people just not really sure how to go about it. Like, if you think about it, bro, like I process this a lot, right? We live in a unique time frame where our services that we provide, as readily available as they are, as saturated as the market is, they're necessary. They're super, super necessary. Let's say you weren't a filmmaker and you wanted to start a gym, start a fitness brand or a clothing brand, whatever. You need a Patrick, you need a Jared to get the content out. Where do you start? You don't even know how to get your shirts mass produced yet. And now you're worried about this $1,000 ticket for a video just to put out your first. So I think about all of that and like it's uncomfortable. It's part of the learning curve of building a business. Obviously there's scales to it. You're talking about me and you working with kind of startups versus big fish who are like, you know, commercial or corporate level gigs. So there's level to it. That's why I say like it's kind of a gut thing for me. It's like, yo, what is on your mind? um, I guess the easiest way I could do explain that is I had a corporate gig. It was for a pharmaceutical, and the email exchange back and forth was just real finicky in terms of like I could tell that he wasn't really listening to me or reading properly what I was saying in my email.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of repeating a lot of the same questions. And a literal blatant red flag for me is he said, once we shoot it, it'll just be about an hour. That's not going to happen. You and I will get together in an editing room and knock it out in about a half hour to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, like you are not involved in this process at all. Like you don't get to see the footage until it's publishable.
Oh man, he said
Yeah,
that
bro.
to
So it's
you?
always yeah. So it's kind of
Oh
always like a
man.
good thing. Luckily, and not surprisingly, that gig fell through, and so it's kind of a gut thing, bro. Because I've had people be really kind of like intimidated about the dollars, so like they want to make sure that they're respecting your time, right? So they
Yeah.
want to be like, yo, like how much do you charge? That is maybe going to be one of their first questions, obviously. And so you can't really just be like, oh, this person doesn't have, you know, the money or whatever. So it's just like, I don't know, bro. It's kind of a gut thing, but I've had some pretty wacky stories. I've had some pretty
I
wacky
feel you, dude.
experiences.
Okay, well, tell me what does a good client interaction look like then? What does it look
Dang,
like? Because
I'm
no one talks
picky,
about
bro. I'll
that.
be honest with
No
you.
one talks about that.
I'm picky. So like for me, I'm talking like you have your vision and purpose. You just need someone to capture it. In other words, and this is spoiled, right? But if you even have some idea of what goes into a production, that's helpful, right? Whether that means you've done it before or you've researched, or maybe this isn't the first lookbook that you're putting out. So you've hired someone before and you got to see the process. Maybe that was a hair pulling experience for you and the creator. So now you're finding a new creator and you know a little bit more, right? So for me, like, as much knowledge as the client could possibly have about what actually goes into the production is beneficial for me. And so again, like super spoiled, but it's just like come to me with all the ingredients and let me just put it in the oven and set it to bake, right? Like I will bring your vision to life.
Mhm.
You know this very well. I always kind of lead with like i'm not I'm not like some crazy left field creative. I'm very technical. So the closer you are to what your vision actually, you know, what you want your vision to be, or what's in your head, the closer you could get or articulate that to me, the better we're going to work together, because I'll be able to know what tools, what resources, or what technicalities are going to go into bringing your vision to life. So for me, like a perfect client, bro, I would just say like have it all done. Know what you want, know what you need. Then let's figure out dollars. Be like, yo, this is the price I have in mind. Is this absurd? Another simple share or example. I had a guy basically want like a live set recorded, where he recorded an album. He wanted like 3 songs performed live, very similar to NPR's Tiny Desk,
Mhm.
right? So he comes to me. He's like, in my head, this is what I want. This is what I want it to look like. In my head, this is the gear we need. And in my head, this is the dollar amount. That's super helpful because I get to meet him where he is and kind of triple A him and, you know, kind of align and assure that, like, yo, we got to reset some expectations, bro, because for the level of production that you're expecting, $500 ain't gonna get it done. Let's just say, I'm just throwing out numbers at this point. Number one, number two, you realize that you need a live audio engineer, live mixing your drummer, your pianist, your vocalist, and your bassist, right? So now you're telling me you have 4 people playing instruments. You need 4 sets of mics, number one. Number two, the drummer can't just have one mic. You need to mic his kick drum. You need to mic his snare. You need to mic his hi-hat. So the more you kind of break all that down, and it's just like, where are we even going to shoot this? What place, you know, whether it's a studio or whatever, has the infrastructure to be able to house all this gear. So for me, it's just like, come to me with what you think, and we'll work it out. We'll figure it out from there. So that's just kind of me. But again, I know that that's a perfect world, and it never happens like that.
No,
Never
dude,
ever.
it never does, never does. But I mean, do you notice the budget's going mostly to like renting out the space most of the time, majority of it?
Um, Kind of just depends on what they're looking for. Usually, yeah, I see dollars kind of going towards like some location or a car, bro. Everyone's into cars right now, obviously, and like as as lower scale as we are, I try not to half-ass as much as possible. So it's like we're gonna go through Turo and we're gonna have to pay all the fees and yada yada yada. You're talking about, you know, just different things. If I know for a fact I'm renting it, but I'm not gonna be the one driving it in the shop, I'm gonna do it legit and I'm gonna add another insured driver. So there's
Yeah,
more dollar. You know what I mean? So I try not to cut corners, especially when you're talking about vehicles. That's somebody else's vehicle. That's somebody else's, you know, asset. But I guess it kind of just depends. I've been able to, like, bro, that CJ video,
oh God.
that was zero budget, zero
Link,
budget,
link in bio. I'm putting that link in bio.
zero budget. You know, so it's just like that was like someone's on a head high, artist is on a head high, hits up director, director hits up DP and says, "Yo, we need to meet in an hour and a half. Grab all your gear." And so I spend the next hour and a half charging all my gear, and I jet out to LA, and we're there probably by like midnight, 1 a.m., and we're shooting till like 4 or 5 a.m. And then I got a 9 a.m. shift the next day. You know what I mean? So it's just like a lot can happen in that, you know, actual nitty gritty run and gun. Um, it just depends. I don't know. It kind of just depends. But like that guy, that artist, CJ, he gets it. He's been on production before, whether it was for him or someone else. So he knows what goes into it. A little bit more understanding when it comes to like, bro, we can't get a shot of you, you know, ghost riding a Porsche on the 105. You know, like that's not gonna happen. So yeah, it kind of just depends.
Oh yeah, dude, and you guys killed it with that album, the album work, the
Dude,
Spotify.
that's all John, bro. I can't take credit for
Dude,
literally any
he
of that.
killed
I
it,
just,
man.
he's nuts. He's nuts
Dude,
for sure.
I
And
really
what's
like
cool
the
too is like,
emoji stuff.
yeah, bro. It got to a point where that project pulled a lot out of him, just in terms of like CJ was kind of putting it on the back burner still, almost to like a perfectionist standpoint. He wanted everything to be ready to just have a super sick rollout, and everything was already dialed. But John just really tapped in and was like able to just pull out some magic on some Houdini stuff, real talk, because John felt this pressure of like, I need to exceed his expectations so tremendously that he wants to publish this tomorrow. Otherwise, this ain't ever gonna get posted. Real talk. Like that's just the headspace that he was in terms of CJ. Like he wasn't really ready to post it. So John was kind of just like, "Yo, like I gotta knock this out of the park because this has to get posted. This is too good not to get posted." So
It was
kudos to
amazing.
him, bro. He killed it. Yeah, he killed it. It was super sick. Super sick.
Hey, can you like walk me through the you cut this in DaVinci, right? Was it cut in DaVinci or Final Cut?
This was cut in Final Cut and then bounced to DaVinci for the grade. What's cool is, bro, this, at least for me and John, and I could definitely speak for myself, probably one of the easiest grades, or I should say
Really?
just like shortest amount of time spent on a grade,
How come?
because we just spent so much time lighting, bro. It's like that's kind of what drag the night out so long, but it was so worth it, so beneficial. We kind of got the look in camera that we wanted. And so come post, come editing time, it was cake, bro. We were kind of just making some adjustments, matching clips. But it was fire. It was really cool. And that was also the first time that we shot 4K and 6K combo in terms of I was on my Pocket 6K, he was on his 4K. I think he had a Sigma 50 and I had the Sigma 18 to 35 or a Canon 35, depending on what the shot was. And it was a dream, bro. It was a dream to edit because ProRes was mad easy. It was the same camera. Before that, obviously, just for context, I guess, I'm not really sure where this is going to live, but for anyone watching, we would always do, I was on a Blackmagic and he was on a Sony A6500. So a little bit more of a nightmare just to like color match and, you know, the whole 9 yards. But this was a breeze, bro. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool for sure.
So that light, what you're saying, Jared, is that if you light the scene well, it will look great in post. What?
Yeah, mostly. It's funny. I didn't watch it. But Cam Mackey just posted a video. Just watch it. Why your teal and orange sucks.
I might check it out after.
Yeah, and the thumbnail is basically like, it's all about lighting. So I didn't watch the video, so I can't really speak to it, but I'm sure it's a good video. I like most of his content, but yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't it crazy how like you and me, we know guys with expensive ass gear, and we see their shit. It's trash. It's crazy.
It's tough, bro. It's tough for sure.
We're not saying names. I mean, like, it's just amusing to it's amusing to me. Like, they say, "Oh, it's getting this. I'm set." I'm like, you don't even shoot a manual, my guy. Like, what do you expect? What do you mean you're set? You're set.
What's funny is like you don't even have to name names. Everybody does it. You know, everybody does it. Everybody, you know, jumps on the newest trend or whatever. So it's like everybody does it. And, hey, I've been there. I've done that. But it's cool because it, at least for me, it kind of instills confidence and like, okay, cool, you got something good here. You know, as creatives, we could always get in our head, about just like, I don't know, quality or what could have been done better or whatever. I'm always my absolute largest critic, to the point of kind of like just paralyzing, you know, like I won't even post something, but it's cool to just take a step back and be like, yo, you got something here. This is pretty fire.
Yeah. It's crazy because like, I trust you with I trust you with a T5i versus some guy off, some Instagram poser with a C500 Mark II, you know?
Yeah. What's funny is my cousin actually just hit me up and he's just like, yo, buddy wants to get a T7, blah, blah, blah. He's, he wants to shoot car stuff, whatever. And so he's like, is it a good camera? And I was able to just kind of remind myself as well as remind my cousin. And a lot of people might disagree with this, but it's just like, bro, it's the same sensor. Like, it's the same sensor as, like, you know, you're getting some autofocus capabilities, you're getting some low light capabilities, or maybe the processor is different. So, like, you know, the operating system feels different. But, like, at the end of the day, if you took a picture on a T7 or a T3i in a studio, in like a lit studio, I don't think anybody's going to be able to tell the difference, bro. So it's just funny to me, but yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to some guys, they were talking about like, for those that are watching that, for the 5 people that are going to watch this, like the A7 IV, I just pre-ordered. Like, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't like, it wasn't like, it wasn't like a want.
You've been waiting.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of technical analysis. So like, for me, hearing that you ordered that, I wasn't surprised because like you're in the Sony game, you know.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call you a fanboy, but you're in the Sony game for sure.
But I was gonna do the R6. I'll be straight with you. I was about to, but then
you got some lenses too that kind of just make it more. It just makes more sense to stay Sony.
I mean, okay, so I'll bring this up, and I want your opinion. Was the fact that it can shoot S35, because that was a feature I was kind of excited about. S35, I can use my Sigma 16-1.4, I can use my Sigma 30-1.4, and I still get 10 bit. I still get the IAF.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a sick feature to have. Even on like a G Master, I shot a wedding like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago on a
FX3?
A7. Nah, remember I sent you the picture of that kid who had it?
Yeah.
It was on a Ronin. Maybe I didn't send it to you. Maybe I just took a picture.
You sent me a picture of the FX3. That's what you sent.
Okay, yeah. So he had it. I was his B cam, and I think he put me on an A7S. I don't know.
It was probably a 2 or a 3. Probably a 2.
I think it was a 3. I think it was a 3. I think it was a 3. But point is, it might have just been an A7 III, bro, because I had Super 35. Does the A7S III have Super 35?
What's weird is it doesn't.
Okay, so then I wasn't on an S3. I think I was just on an A7 III. My point is, 50 millimeter lens, Super 35, small ceremony. It's all you need, bro. It's all you need. You know, you could kind of just dual wield, boom bap. You're going from 50 to basically almost 100. So yeah, it's I missed it. I'll be honest with you, because obviously I had the A7 III, and I missed it. That was definitely a sick feature to have. So I would say, yeah, man, I'm not surprised. I'm stoked for you.
You remember when we did that shoot with Ariel at Fullerton?
Yeah.
We were just talking about how you jumped from the A7 III to the BMP, and for you the highlight was 10-bit. But
yeah.
I remember you were saying you were using the box of crayons analogy,
Yeah.
And I noticed there are guys who will still get a 10-bit camera, but even then, they're still not grading it heavy where you will notice the difference with an 8-bit camera. So I guess it depends on how, I don't want to say aggressive, but how in-depth of a grade you're going for. So
yeah, I think it's that. I think it's like exposure in camera. There's also just like, I've noticed, because I've been able to play around with like Film Convert and obviously Magic Bullet, even like Color Finale, and like they all massage the footage differently. I mean, and this is obvious, but like I'll have a much different experience grading like D-Log footage from a Mavic than like a Sony A7 III or my Blackmagic, and I could just notice that some of the grades or like preset LUTs or starter foundations, filters, whatever you want to call it, they'll make an image crumble depending on what your settings were, what the environment was. You could even, let's just say, even for my Blackmagic, let's strictly talk about that. I could be perfectly exposed, but it's just a lower, there's like a darker scene, it's just like a darker scene for sure. So it is a little bit, almost underexposed, but that's kind of what it is. It's kind of what it's going for. A lot of noise, even if I'm at, a native ISO on the pocket. So it's just like, it kind of depends. And then you kind of have to know ways to pivot out of that, whether it's denoiser if it has to be, or, just adjusting with that some way, shape, or form. But one thing that I'm curious about, I want to get into it, I just haven't, mostly out of laziness. But I want to start baking my LUT into my monitor, bro. I want to start baking my LUT into my monitor. Reason why I haven't done it yet, I'll tell you the truth, is there's a pretty discernible difference between my monitor and my Blackmagic actual in-camera. The easiest way I could describe it to you is I'll be shooting log, right, the film profile on a Blackmagic, and so behind my camera, it's real, it's real flat, it's very muddy. On the monitor, it looks like it's already being converted to Rec 709, even though it's not. So, and I just have, I don't even know. I think it's a Phil World. It's a Phil World 7-inch. So I don't know if that's a profile thing. I don't know if it's just because it's a lower quality monitor.
I think it's just, you remember that guy, Robert Machado, I sent you? He's a Sony guy, FX6, whatever. Yeah. He's really into like the science of the cinematography. He talks about how the reason he's using small HD monitors is has nothing to do with like the price or quality of the build. It's just really just comes down to it's color calibrated, right? So he notices when he's just shooting S-Log3 and he's looking at on his small his older monitors that are non-small HD, it looks correct. But when he pulls in the post, there's like these like slight greener tones than usual. So I guess that's what comes down to like good quality monitors, like those small HDs.
Yeah.
So
especially when you're getting into like, I know the further you get into it, you're talking about just setting like a custom white balance, you know, a custom Kelvin for whatever you're going for, whatever you're going for. You know, some people shift it whichever way for a warmer look, and like Carlos Stiggs is really really good at getting the tonality out of the image that he wants by adjusting that as well as the temperature of his lights. And I'll find often like they don't match. In other words, his lights can be set for 5600, but he wants a certain look, so he'll set his camera to like 6500, right? And you can't really do those things unless your monitor is properly calibrated. So you are losing a certain level of control. And obviously, you and I both know about, you know, screen calibrations, even just for monitors and displays. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know if that fill world is just it would have to short and sweet be just calibrated, you know, incorrectly. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I haven't tried to bake in the LUTs, because I know that Spencer Sakurai, he does that a lot, and he even shows us behind the scenes, and it's pretty powerful just to see like being able to tweak the lighting or you know. But anyways,
yeah. Spencer Sakurai, the BMP, one of the BMPC Four Horsemen, but he jumped. What's your thoughts on that?
Not surprised. His stuff's wicked. He spoke a lot about like why, and I definitely understand it. The more and more I look at it, right, it's kind of like there's not a difference, but there is. Obviously there's a difference. But yeah, I was pretty stoked when he switched, just because I was like, that's sick. I'm stoked for him. Obviously that means work's going well. You don't really buy a body like that or a machine like that if work's not going well. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But he seemed the type to be pretty frugal just with gear and stuff. He even him and damn, I'm blanking on the name. He's a film photographer. I'm blanking on the name, but they went an entire year, I want to say 2018 or 2019, without buying a single piece of gear. That was just their like challenge to themselves, just to like don't buy anything, literally anything. So that was kind of cool. So he seems someone who's pretty true to just like master your craft and use the tools accessible to you.
It's just crazy how like or someone in the comments like, oh, you were the chosen one for the BMPC boys, and I was just like, oh, that's true. He was preaching the BMPC 6K. He still does. He was just that other guy who's the Italian. Is he Italian or is he Spaniard? I don't know. You know what the guy with glasses? Yeah, that guy was definitely a BMPC
with Leica R.
Yeah, Leica. That's a BMPC. That is a BMPC messiah. He preaches those cameras to no degree. It's crazy because he even went on a rant on that his YouTube post recently about the whole red thing. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Dude, he was just like, oh, if you have a client that requires a red, and you can check it out. It's on his page. Like he said, like they're stupid, and I'm like, whoa, maybe they're not. Maybe they're. I don't want to say they're stupid, you know. Like maybe it's just a requirement as a business, right? You know,
that's true.
He gets really passionate about it. I noticed.
I've had that before. Honestly, just working with the label, they were shooting some like documentary stuff, and this was a little bit different because they had already shot. It was like a 2-year long process of them collecting footage, and they would only let me shoot on red. They were super strict about it. They provided the budget for me to like go get it. Like it didn't matter. But even if I tried to have conversations with them to get them out of it, they were just like, well, no, all the other stuff is on red. So I get it. And then obviously you're talking about, I don't know what they were trying to do with it, but Netflix approved cameras and whatnot. A Pocket isn't, you know? So I get it. It kind of just depends on what the end goal is. But yeah, but what do I know?
And it's funny. It's like, it makes you wonder, do you require the red because it's a red or because you need red raw? And they never have an answer for you. They never do.
Yeah.
It's weird because you're gonna end up shooting ProRes.
Red raw is most of the time.
Like, I'm gonna shoot ProRes, Red Raw, not Red Raw.
Well, for that documentary, I was shooting Red Raw, so I get it. But yeah, most of the time I shoot I shoot ProRes just myself, even just because why? Like I don't know, easier.
So all right, Jared, when you when that BMP 6K Pro came out, wasn't that impressive for you?
It definitely like isn't something that I feel like anyone needs to sell their camera for, but I was stoked. I was stoked. I'm a nerd, bro. And like I think the Black Magic really showed me this. I didn't get the Black Magic for clients or because if I have a cinema camera, I'll get more gigs. I got the Black Magic because I like cameras, because I'm an enthusiast just as much as, you know, I like to work in the industry. And so at the end of the day, I'm a nerd for technology. And so I always like to see the innovations. I like to see just the discoveries, because something as simple as cinematic mode on the iPhone 13, the technology has been developed where you and I will never miss a money shot again at some point in the future, because we will be able to digitally rack focus. You know what I mean? Obviously, nothing will ever compare to like real rack focus from a camera, what have you, but the fact that that technology is being built, if you're in a situation where you only have one take or one shot or one chance, you can rely on technology like that just as much as you and I rely on something as simple as like dual pixel autofocus for concert photography in low light or whatever. So it's just like I just get hyped on the innovations and the technology, but no, it wasn't anything that I was trying to sell my camera over. Definitely not, but it's pretty sick. My biggest thing is also like image quality is what I'm really getting. You know, the bells and whistles are cool, but if I'm getting the same image quality, you know, especially once they drop that color science, the fifth gen color science in an update, it's like we have the same camera at that point. You know, sure you have more features, ND filters, all that other stuff, but it's the same camera.
So since you brought Black Magic, like, do you, do you ever, with DaVinci now, do you even touch Final Cut Pro?
I do still like to cut in Final Cut, man. I do. I like to stitch and piece together. I don't know if it's like a preference just because I'm still pretty fresh with DaVinci, so I'm just a lot faster. For me, it's kind of like the way I broke it down to John was like, think about trying to write an essay where you're writing versus typing. You get ideas out a lot faster while you're typing, and so it almost improves productivity, you know, while you're working on this essay. Same kind of goes for Final Cut and DaVinci. I'm not really someone to have a pretty structured workflow, if you will. It's pretty disorganized, and like it makes sense for me. You know, it's pretty, you know, A B C D for me, but it isn't really like templatable. And so I say that to say I'm usually working through ideas as they're coming and just flying through Final Cut with keyboard shortcuts or just knowing what to do. That process gets halted quite a bit while trying to cut together in DaVinci. So I think it's mostly just haven't spent that much time there, whereas I've have almost countless hours. Since 2017 now. As soon as I got hired, I switched over. So yeah, so I've just spent a lot more time in Final Cut, but I enjoy DaVinci. I'm super stoked to. I've made it a personal commitment to make that my only software on the M1 Max when it comes in. So we'll see. I'm gonna purchase 17 because right now I'm in 16, the free, or it's the full version, but
You got the
the
full
included
version.
version with black. Yeah, it's the included version with the Black Magic. I have the full version though. Um, when the M1 Max comes in, I'm gonna get 17 and just not even download Final Cut and see what's good. So we'll see. We'll see. Pretty
All right,
much.
changing gears. I wanted to ask you this one. Have there been times where you wish, man, I wish I had a crew for the shoot, and then 180 where it's like, man, I wish I didn't have a crew for the shoot, but I do.
Um, I've always wished that I've had a crew every time I'm alone. It just makes it helpful, bro. You get to bounce ideas off of each other. The the day just goes smoother. I feel like I feel more comfortable because I know I got a team and it's not this giant like existential climax of responsibility on my shoulders. I don't know that there's ever been a time where I didn't wish I had a crew, but I have been on some sets where I just wish it was. I'll put it this way: I never wish that I don't have a crew. I just wish sometimes that it's a tighter crew, whether that responsibility falls on the producer or the director, just running a tighter ship. If I'm ever manning like the entire crew, I wouldn't say it's in like an uncomfortable work, but it's grind time. We're at work, we're on a set, so there's not as much. It's still fun, it's still a good time, but I've definitely been on, especially being in the music industry, everyone's chiefing it, everyone's drinking, everyone's so it's just like it's tough sometimes because I have the work ethic from and the urgency from where we work, just to really focus on the task at hand, and not everyone shows up with that same ethic, because either they know that they just get to focus on lighting and everyone else is going to worry about the rest, or they've had to wear all the hats before and so now this is cake or whatever. But it's like, nah, you still want to show that same sense of urgency to be able to help one another. But yeah, I've never wished that I didn't have a crew. Most of the time I wish that I have a crew, for sure.
Remember when a fun one we did together was when you had me help you with the epic. That was fun.
That was sick. Honestly,
Dude,
that was
that
pretty
was fun.
sick.
It was good vibe, good energy. I love
Yeah.
the idea you came up with last minute.
Yeah.
That shot where you had him sitting down was pretty dope.
So a couple things I wish I could have done differently is just spend a little bit more time lighting it, because he was pretty silhouetted. And then I wish that we had a little bit more of like a grip or a gaffer crew to like switch on some lights when it got to like the backdrop part. I know we had that photographer show me the light, but he was dark. It was real dark. But I say that to say I liked it. It was cool. It was organic. It was quick. I hadn't been to this space, and like he was doing this thing where he did talk to him Tuesdays. It was just freestyles on Tuesday where his boy would produce a beat and he would just freestyle, and they were pretty fire. So he was approaching his 10th one, and I hit him up. I was just like, yo, let me shoot your 10th one. Like, don't shoot it on an iPhone. Let's make it sick. And he's like, all right. So obviously he took the opportunity and ran with it and kind of turned it into like a little bit of a single, like a song. But anyways, yeah, I hadn't been to the space. I didn't even know what his idea was. We were just going to shoot it and just like try to make it look organic. And it came out sick, bro. Your shots were dope. The lighting was sick. It was cool. Like, kind of had that cool little warehouse industrial vibe, it was cool.
Sure. Did you feel like, because correct me, we had the VL200 posted up higher with the softbox left on.
Right.
But we took
them off. We took them off.
For the VL200 or the SL60?
Both of them.
We did.
Both of them.
That's why he was sweating a little.
It was also just kind of hot. And
yeah. Would you say it was kind of emulating the spotlight look, basically?
Yeah, but like it was sick. I liked it. It was
it was cool.
Kind of gave that like workshop lights, like warehouse vibes.
Yeah,
it was cool. Bro, it was real cool. I liked it a lot, for sure.
Jared, I forgot to ask you. I couldn't tell. Were you using the Komodo footage mostly, or the BMPC footage also?
So I've used both, definitely. I kind of timed it where like every fourth beat, it was switching, because just to add some interest, as well as like you kind of saved me a lot just from like some shakiness or some out of focus parts. But the good majority of the beginning, I would say, was the Komodo, and that's primarily just because of framing. Obviously, I knew in my head I wanted that framing, and it was cool that you had that unique shot to the ladder that I was able to cut to as he was kind of touching his face and moving around. Otherwise, it would have got boring. My shot would have definitely got boring because it was just locked, and like it was cool. It was mysterious and what have you, but it would have gotten boring just staring at that.
I could, it's crazy. Like I feel like you can't tell which one was BMP and which one was.
It was sick, bro. It was fun.
We did what? ProRes 422. I think we
We
shot.
did ProRes on both of them. Both of them were the Sigma 18 to 35.
I think I had the Canon 35 on mine, right? On the
I
BMP.
think you did because you were handheld. I was on a
Yeah.
tripod for the beginning. Yeah, so it was IS. Yeah, you're right. You're right. How did you like it, bro? Like we chopped it up a little bit, but like, how did you like shooting on the Black Magic? Just like the ergonomics.
I think I would have to test it with a follow focus system.
Okay.
But I like the ergonomic. I like the menu system a lot.
Do you want wireless or would you want like a tactile?
I
Like in
honestly
other words,
that
you want
the
like the
small.
nucleus, or are you cool with just like
I'm cool. I'm cool with the small rig where it's
like a
just
manual?
yeah, just the small rig mini follow focus. I mean, I've
Okay.
seen a lot of people use that thing and people love it.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
guess I would just
Yeah.
want to. I like the menu system a lot. If they don't
Uh-huh.
overcomplicate it at all, it makes sense.
Uh-huh.
You know, tap tap.
Yeah.
There you go. You're good to go.
Right.
I like your field world monitor a lot.
It's good.
So I got a desk view monitor 5-inch that's a 2200 nit. No,
Ooh,
2600.
okay. Right.
It's way too bright. I know I can tone it down.
Too bright.
I like yours because it was one. It's like what's yours? A 1200, 1000 something nit.
Nah, mine's I want to say it's like 2000, bro, or
2000,
1600.
1600.
I got it because it was bright, like real bright.
Yeah, I feel like it was just right.
Okay.
And
I usually rock it at half brightness anyway when I'm
really?
indoors.
Yeah.
The bright one. Truthfully, bro, I wear my shades a lot while I'm out. And my eyes are just kind of sensitive, so I usually don't take my shades off. And if the monitor isn't bright enough, I can't see it with my shades on. So I just mostly got a bright one for that, so that I could still see it whilst wearing my shades. And that being said, if I'm indoors and obviously I have my regular glasses on, I rock the Fill World at like half brightness, probably, if not maybe 20%, 25%.
Yeah.
And that's just because I'm a stickler on battery, as well as like brightness has never really been an issue for me. The Black Magic screen is just fine as far as brightness goes. It's just that I wear my shades and like I shoot outdoors a lot. So yeah, but in controlled environments, I don't think it's necessary to have anything that bright.
Yeah. I mean,
It's still helpful though. It's clutch.
Yeah. So yeah, going back to your BMP, I liked it. I liked the grip. I liked your I liked your whole rig setup.
I want to try it with the side handle. I really want to hold that.
You're talking about with the rosette style one?
Correct. With the focus wheel side handle. Yeah.
Yeah. You really think it would make a big difference for you, or?
Yeah, just because like I don't always want to just top handle. I feel like that's kind of skateboard vibes.
Yeah. So I feel you.
Sometimes I want it right there, you know? Yeah. So we'll see.
When I look back on it, I did like the body style of the red Komodo, the cube. I like the cube style.
Same. I agree.
I
also like the heft. Like
too.
I liked the weight, just of the box. We didn't even have it rigged out that crazy. Just having the wooden handle, it felt good. It felt stable. It felt, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think they're both great cameras. That's all I'm going to say. You can't go wrong with either one. Obviously, I just get a little bit concerned about the fans open on the BMP, because I have heard like, if you're in like a rain or snow condition, it can get into those little fan vents. Of Two Lands brought that up recently in his videos. Like, hey, it's a great camera. It's just those little fans. That's it. Yeah. So
Cam Mackey shot something in the desert when because he was Black Magic for a small period of time, but
it got stolen.
Oh, really?
That's why he doesn't have it right now. It got stolen.
I didn't know that.
He was talking about it in a video I think last month. It got jacked.
Sucks. How funny. That sucks. Well, he had brought that up just in terms of like weather sealing and being protected from the elements. He had said that the Black Magic, he definitely felt a little bit more exposed, whereas with even the EOS R and then the R5, as well as the Komodo, he felt a little bit more secure. So yeah, that's crazy. I never really think about that, but unfortunately, I haven't had any issues.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, if BMP went cube metal construction, I feel like people would buy it. You know, they made like a what's that one camera brand? They do cube style.
The Z Cam.
Yeah, like the Z Cam design.
Yeah,
you know? Metal.
For
Shoot,
sure.
ProRes, B-Raw, internal. Oh, shit, I'd buy that.
Yeah.
But
I think the football shape is still like a awkward one for a lot of people. Even rigging it out becomes difficult, obviously, and then trying to throw it on a gimbal. But I get it because you don't get that sexy screen unless it's shaped awkward. You know,
yeah,
all those cube style cameras have like a real tiny, not bright, very unresponsive screen, or some of them aren't even touchscreen. You just got to use buttons on the side. So I get the argument is like, well, you use a monitor anyway, but it's like sometimes I like the Blackmagic's monitor, or it's not so much that I prefer it over my monitor, but it's helpful that it's there. You know, just having it's cool.
I feel you. Well,
Like when I went to the lake, that was a super sick to have. That monitor was clutch. I would have had a hard time if I was on a Komodo.
Jared, I'm still waiting for your Alicia footage. I'm still waiting for your San Diego trip footage.
Dude, there's so much. I was just thinking about you, honestly, because I'm clearing out some drives. I'm getting ready to potentially sell the 27-inch and or do a backup just for the 14-inch when it comes. Excuse me. So just kind of, organizing footage and then organizing my 10 terabyte. But yeah, bro, I was thinking about you recently. There's a lot.
Or at least post some screen grab color grades. I really want to see them. Because when you sent me this, when you sent me that San Diego one, I got hyped. With your homegirl?
I got to, I have to at least post screen grabs.
God, I got so hyped when you showed me the one with her. I think it was at a beach, and you had the mountains behind her.
We were at La Jolla.
Fire.
Ocean. Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Well, when you launch that Patreon for color grading, I'll be sure.
I want to get after it, bro. I want to get after it, but between like selling out at work and just putting a lot of energy there, and then like resting and then the girlfriend, it's tough, but it's cool.
All right. Well, all right, Jared, if you have to give one last piece of advice for any creative guy, what would it be?
Dang, bro. Honestly, this is just coming from the heart right now. I'm mostly speaking to myself. Just freaking shoot some shit. Just shoot some shit. Learn your camera, your craft, your art, whatever. The rest will come. You'll figure it out. You'll get the gear. You'll rent the gear. You'll figure it out. But just shoot some stuff. You know, get out there and like if you're having a struggle creatively. There was a trend. This is going to become a tangent, but I'll keep it short. There was a trend in 2018, 2019, and definitely 2020, because everyone was on lockdown, where the term burnout was getting thrown around just as much as cinematic sequence. Everyone was how to deal with burnout, how to avoid burnout, how to overcome burnout, creative block, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I've been there. But just go shoot some shit, you know? Just go freaking shake it off. Get your camera. It might not be the most inspiring thing ever. I heard a quote that really, really resonated with me. Inspiration is amazing. Inspiration could unlock creativity and take you further than you've ever seen before. But it's hit or miss, and it'll come and it'll go. Discipline will never fail, you know? So if you have the discipline to just get up and go shoot, the simple freaking photo a day or 30-second a day, or even you were doing for the month of October like a script a day, you know. So
that was painful, dude.
I'm sure it was, but like you grew, you learned, you exercised.
Kenny actually looked at some of it for me. He's actually back. He's actually just got back yesterday.
From his LOA?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
He was like, man, he was surprised I did. I was like, I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just got to find the right guy.
You gotta send me some of it, bro.
Yeah. So basically, it's a divorce scene.
Okay.
So it's like a guy and girl who was like really tight, 10 years, and now they're ready to just split.
Wow.
So I'm trying to have a lot of emotions played into it, but But yeah, thank you, Jer. This is episode
For sure.
1. Again, my guest today is Jared James at AO Jerry's, the guy who taught me color grading basics. You really did. You know that, right?
I that's funny. I don't take credit for that. I feel like you've been killing it for a lot longer than we've been chopping it up. But
and also cool. the guy who
we learned together.
No, this is the guy who sat through one of the most bullshit music video sets ever.
Aha, that's so funny. But hey, we learned a lot.
Yeah.